How are y'all doing? Welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting, and today's show, we're going to cover Will USCIS waive the interview? Friends, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. If you're now joining, welcome. Let me know where you're watching from. I always think it's interesting how far the different social media channels have reached. Sorry, I'm a little bit late today. Just trying to figure out a new camera. So if you're on YouTube or Facebook, let me know how I look. It appears to me that it's a little bit more crisp, but otherwise on Instagram, I think it can only do it using the phone, as far as I know. But if you're out there, you understand content creation and all this tech stuff. I'm always willing to learn more. Let's work together, okay? So we can share information with the community, foreign nationals, whether you're in the US or you're waiting outside of the United States. We're going to come up. Happy New Year, by the way. I'm just going straight to it. Today's January 3rd, 2022. Happy New Year. We have a lot of new updates, folks. If you go to our website, greencardguys.com, we make it very easy to understand if we can really help you in a consultation or not. So first of all, if what you can do is, let me see, I'm going to share and let you know what it looks like. Okay. Thank you so much, AB Samuel. Appreciate it. Hopefully you get your status too soon. Or at least get, I think in your situation, petition to be approved. Happy New Year, Habib. Thank you so much. I want to, I'm going to try to do that more often, give you a shout out, recognize you because, y'all typically catch most of our videos. So thank you so much. Of course, if it's related to you. Let me know, did y'all travel for the New Year's? Did you find, hopefully you weren't part of all those like Southwest airline cancellations. My goodness, that was kind of crazy. So something, made me realize things that happen across the world or even in the United States, I try to understand, get value from that to see how that, um, you know, for us, it's all about customer service, right? So how can we use that information? Maybe if it's a negative story, how we can use that with our team and how we can improve our services. So I'm going to share a little preview of for y'all, since you have been watching, and I'll get to the topic of the day, of course. Um, I'm just a little excited about this. Please pay no attention to my picture, but the thing I just X'd out was all the reviews we have, positive reviews. Fortunately, we really try our best. So you can see here we solve immigration problems. Clearly, we do that. We're the immigration problem solvers, and really help you understand what we're about. Okay, so by the way, if you're new to our channel, we do offer free 15-minute preliminary discussion consultation for free, but you have to take a quiz. It's not automatic if you contact us. Okay, because we could probably answer your question in a free guide. All right, so that contains common answers to questions. And let's see here. It has estimated step by step. But if some of y'all folks have been, outside America for a long time and trying to find ways to come back in, and you're considering something like SB1, that's probably, you might not need a consultation with us. We have a free guide about that can kind of give you a couple ideas what to do. So anyway, you'll see here on the middle section the typical problems that we see. There's just a few. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people heard a lot of people that got, what do you call, like, bad lawyer experience, unfortunately. But you'll see more options, more scenarios if the government has delayed your decision. So I just increased the font there for you to see. But because people always wonder, well, can you even help me? Is this a kind of like case that you would take? So there it is there. Okay. If you go to contact us, Laddie, I see your question. How can you get that free 15 minutes? want to start the new year strong. So I'm going to give you the secret code to begin with. It's Green Card Guys. Okay, that's the secret code. Sometimes my care team asks, sometimes I don't, because at the end of the day, we want to just get straight to it and see if we can help you. So, but if you go to the Contact Us page, you'll see that. And by the way, folks that are Instagram, I'm able to share my screen on YouTube and Facebook, our Facebook page. The software doesn't allow me to share Instagram. I don't know why. But anyways, you'll see that we do serve clients in all, pretty much you can live anywhere in the world. We can help you. There's a couple scenarios you can verify your status eligibility. So take a quiz for the free consult. That's the first one, first section on the contact page. Or you can just request a quote. If you're interested for direct legal services and you already know that you need a lawyer, you can just request a quote. Of course, the legal team's going to probably definitely chat with you at some point, but at least you can see, the pricing. So you can click there and fill out the form for that one. Now, the thing I want to be very clear about for those folks that are wondering, does my situation qualify for free consultation? There's been a couple folks, don't want to call you out, but there's been a couple folks that, to give you an idea, we want to answer as many questions possible. But it's 15 minutes. So keep that in mind. If you probably know if your list of questions will be require more than 15 minutes. So typically, if that's the case, you have to click on fee consults button. Okay. We want to be respectful of your time and give you the time that you need for the amount of questions you have. So you have to pay for that though. That's more than 15 minutes. Okay. And it's quite normal for lawyers to charge. So just please keep that in mind. And if for any folks that have, questions about consequences of your crimes, immigration consequences to your crimes, that definitely requires a fee. Okay, there's no point in having a consultation because we're going to tell you in advance at that point that you need to pay for a memo, essentially. So typically, you have a criminal defense lawyer. At some point, for them to assist you, they're supposed to ask you, have you talked to an immigration lawyer? So definitely at that point, you may have received a plea bargain deal, something like that. And anyways, if you're in that situation, because it takes time. We're in Texas. We have one of our premier attorneys is in Colorado. So, but even for us, we don't know every nook and cranny about every single crime. We have to do research. So you can see here, it costs $2,500 for our team to take time to prepare a memo, essentially is what you're asking for. So please understand that, okay? We're not going to have consults just on that kind of scenario. So for the several that got that opportunity for free consult last year, 2022, this is a year for us to be intentional, to provide value, but in a more streamlined way, okay? So and that's why you might not hear from many lawyers, because they're probably thinking, that's not my case type, so I'm not even going to call you back. So obviously that's a little bad taste. So for us, we're letting you know in advance if for some reason we don't call you back. We try our best, but it depends on the scenario, okay, folks? Hi, Pella. Happy New Year to you. Sheldon, Happy New Year to you. Appreciate it. Wow, this camera is clear. It's so clear. I need to clean my face more often. Okay, that's a good reminder. I need to put sunblock on more often. Okay, so for the topic of the day, thank you so much for letting me share all that. I just had to get through that since that was a new update for 2023. Really reduce frustration on everyone's side, because we don't want people to be waiting around thinking that we're going to be doing something when it takes a lot of time and requires a fee for that. Okay, so here's the deal. Here are some tips for you. Here's the hot tips. Okay, if you have a adjustment of status application, which means if you filed an I-485 or you're about to, okay, these tips are really for if you have not filed it yet and you're preparing it now. Okay, the first thing, is to consider this. With the Biden administration, they have announced, okay, USCIS, that they're going to waive some interviews. Okay, it's not mandatory that they have an interview for everyone. This has not changed. This has been on the government website. Okay, let me see if I can share it with you. In the USCIS policy manual, they've always had this authority. Okay, again, I can only able to share this on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're wanting to actually look at what I'm sharing, please hop on over to greencardguys.tv. And okay, so let me scroll down. This section is chapter 5 of the policy manual, interview guidelines. Okay, so policy manual helps us as attorneys to know better what the government's looking for. It doesn't have all the secrets in there, of course, but it gives you a pretty good idea, and it's a public document. It's not a PDF, but it's on the public website. Okay, it's available to you. So if you're trying to file your own case, I definitely recommend you take a look at this. Okay, it has a lot of helpful things. Last week we talked about the preponderance of evidence, so you can take a look at that in the link above. And so yeah, you can see here they allow the officers to waive the interview. It says it right here. The decision to waive the interview should be on a case-by-case basis. Okay, so that doesn't mean that it's going to be automatic for you. All right, unfortunately, not automatic for everyone. Okay, and let's see here. The other thing that you might know already is that for family-based applications, USCIS generally requires a petition for the petitioner to appear for the interview with the adjustment of status application. Now, for some of y'all, you already filed and have an approved petition from a long time ago, and that's fine. That's probably because maybe your sponsor's a resident, or maybe your sponsor's a sibling, U.S. citizen sibling. So in that sense, you have to, there's a long wait time for that. And maybe by now you can file adjustment because you're in America with a non-immigrant visa. You've maintained your status. So side tangent, if you're here without currently, maybe you entered a long time ago as that like non-immigrant visa, but now you don't have any kind of status at all, you might need to schedule a consultation or check out our prior videos about what you need to do. Hot tip, you might need a waiver. Okay, so please don't leave the US, and please don't even file the 485 unless you know for sure after speaking with a lawyer. Like these videos here on YouTube and all that, they give you a pretty good idea, right? We're trying to share information that is real time, real solutions. It's up to you if you want to hire us. You don't have to. Of course, as you could probably tell, I share information about what's going on internally with our team, so you have an idea how we can work smoothly on your case to give you a smooth journey experience. Okay, because we get a lot of calls where people are saying, John, we've called you because you share great information and it answers my question. Well, that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so I have a lot of videos from the past that answers your questions. Like even people ask about, do I have to have income from the past to sponsor? Hot tip, no. You don't have to have income from the past, but if you currently USCIS looks at current income. So anyways, that kind of answers the question. That's one tip actually for today specific to, will USCIS waive my interview? You basically have to have your case, I would say 150%. Okay, let's call it that. In the sense that you provided everything they need. So if you don't, like, let's say you filled out the form, you signed, the sponsor, let's say U.S. citizen spouse, files signs off on the affidavit of support form 864. That's not enough. Okay. You're going to the sponsor has to provide evidence, documents to show proof that you are qualified, okay, for that as a sponsor. So an example is your current pay stubs, and don't just send one pay stub. So yeah, every company is different, every employer is different. I think most employers that I'm aware of usually pay every 2 weeks. So your pay period is every 2 weeks. So if that's the case, what we tell essentially what it is that because people ask how many pay stubs do you provide, we just want, at least for our team, the last 3 months. Okay. That usually tends to be the difference maker. Okay. One of them. Okay. That's one tip. The second tip, okay, to get your case to be a better chance to be waived. All right. Adjustment of status interview waived. Number two, provide the medical exam at the same time that you file your case package. Okay. So, how do you do that? What do you need to do? Fortunately, number one is that the medical exam is valid for 2 years. The old rule is that it was only valid for 1 year. So, in that situation, we typically advise our new clients, let's hold off on mailing the medical exam because the interviews would take like more than 12 months to be scheduled. So that's frustrating that a client has to pay multiple times, right? For a medical exam for probably the same results, hopefully. Okay. Um, but now it's valid for 2 years. Now the tip for that is I have to check this, but the policy manual about medical exam is that it can't be more than 30 days old at the time that you file. So as soon as you pretty much have all the evidence ready, at that point, that's when we tell our clients, like if you're at least halfway through on gathering the documents for our team, this is a time to go ahead and schedule the medical appointment because it takes at least to time it right. It takes at least a week on average for every clinic that our clients have gone to provide the sealed envelope. So by the way, keep it sealed. Don't open it. If you want an extra copy for your own personal, information, ask the clinic to give you another copy. Which another hot tip: some clinics have called and said that some clinics have told our clients that they need to provide. Sorry, someone just called me. So if you're on Instagram and it went blank for a second, that's why I need to put my do not disturb on. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm back on Instagram. Let me respond to that person real quick. Let's see here. So is that every clinic is different in terms of fees. It's not always the same across the board. And you can't go to any clinic, okay? It has to be from the list in the USCIS website, which of course we make it easier for our clients. We provide the list for you based on your zip code. Now, the other thing is that you need to know is that some clinics ask you to bring a blank copy of the form, the 693 application, okay? Because I think it's at least 10 pages, and especially if you're asking for a copy for yourself, these clinics, they don't want to pay for their own paper, I guess. And by the way, some law firms charge you more for paper. Like if you want a copy of it, which by the way, for our team, we just share a Dropbox links from day one, the same day that you pay a deposit. So you don't even have to ask us for access. Like you get the access on day one. I think it's just kind of crazy that some law firms don't provide the documents. It's like pulling teeth to get your own documents. Sorry, that's my mini rant. Okay, so tip number 3 is that if you had this, so this is really for like marriage cases, okay? But you can use some of these tips to be applied for any other adjustment of status or immediate relative classification, especially if you're adult child who's has filed for you're a U.S. citizen, you're filing for a parent that's also immediate relative. The other tip, but if you're a married case, you're married to a U.S. citizen, all right, folks, it's not just the marriage certificate, okay? So tip number 3 is about evidence, okay? For bank statements specifically, you need to show some transaction activity. So even for our own clients, if knowing that you've selected one of the 3 plans for us to represent you all the way through, max plan includes for us to one of our attorneys, or we co-counsel with another attorney that's not part of the law firm, who lives in let me just pick like Orlando, Florida. We can co-counsel with someone that be there for your interview. In that sense, we can prepare with you in advance and say, hey, we need, for example, your most recent joint bank accounts, okay? Because the government wants to see transaction activity. Because I remember one case long time ago, like 10 plus years, I think basically in my first year of practice as a lawyer, that they created the bank account together, or they joined one of each other's bank account, but they stopped using it. So we got it approved. They're using some other evidence, but the reason to have a bank account together is so that you use it. So, and it doesn't mean that you have to use joint every bank account together. Like, it doesn't have to be just one. Okay. Just one. There is no USCIS regulation that says you need to join every single account, because I know some of y'all have a little bit issues of trust. So I get it. Okay. So just one bank account, and I would use it for most of your expenses. So if you're like one of those folks that you love your credit card points, okay, cool. Add the other spouse to that credit card as well. Okay. Because you want to show that you're commingling your, not just money in terms of like income, but also your expenses. All right. Because of course you could technically affect each other's credit score. I think I'm not a financial person, but yeah, some of your bills you get paid by credit card. It's not necessarily always your checking or savings account, but the point is also show that your income is coming into the same account. I think for me, honestly, like if I were a USCIS officer, I would think it's a little weird that, money is deposited from your other account into this joint account. So for me, if I was like really nitpicky as a USCIS officer, I would probably think like, how can I probably ask like, I'd probably be a very bad USCIS officer if I really wanted to, but obviously I'm pro immigration. Okay. So I wouldn't be this mean, but it just comes to mind because I try to play devil's advocate to see how we can provide y'all better advice, I guess you could say, more value. And so for me, again, if I were a USCIS officer, I'd be like, why do you have money coming from a different account and going to the joint account? Why not just have your employer deposit your income, like your pay stub, or what do you call it, direct deposit into the same joint account? And then I would just ask that, and what would you say? I don't trust my spouse. Yeah, you probably don't want to say it like that, right? So you just have to think about that. You have to be ready for these kind of scenarios, folks. Okay, so and that's what we try to do. Of course, for any lawyer, it's going to be difficult to cover every single question. Some of these officers are really good in terms of, not saying they're mean, but they're really good at their job, right? So they could ask you a question that's not part of like our 100 question list. We do have a PDF that we can, go through with you. I think it's 100 questions. It's pretty crazy, but they're not going to ask every single question, of course. So anyway, these are tips to give you a better chance to have USCIS waive your interview because you've provided a sufficient amount of evidence. Now, I talked last week about the standard of evidence. I guess I forgot what you call it. Standard of proof. It's it's what we call preponderance of evidence. So that means it has to be like 50% or more likely that you're in a bona fide marriage, that you're in a legitimate, real marriage, that you did not enter the marriage or get married for the purpose of immigration benefit. Obviously, you filed the case to get the green card, but that's not the reason for getting married. Okay, so you see the difference here. Hopefully, maybe I need to go live on a different show, more specific about that topic. What else? So, I mean, there's so many tips, but those are the main things. But even more specific about, here's a bonus tip. Okay, bonus tip time. Some of y'all think that a lot of photos is a good thing, and no, it's not. Some of y'all have been using a lot of photos to overcome the lack of financial evidence. USCIS officers know this. So don't think, I wouldn't waste an officer's time in that sense. Now, don't provide like look, if you're what we usually ask our clients, just give us 10 photos. Okay. What we do is make it easier. Our goal is to make it easy for the officer so that your case can be approved and reviewed sooner. So we put like 2 pictures on one page. We make it easy. We do all that for you. Side benefit that's not in our quote that we don't even discuss. So, Anu, I see you have a question. I'll get to that soon. But y'all need to check that out, okay? Think about that. Now, when I say pictures, I don't mean like it's different than the screenshots. Screenshot, especially if it's like a fiance visa case or it's a marriage-based case, but you're living separately, then yeah, like the screenshot of all your FaceTime calls, because it shows the date and time, or your WhatsApp messages to each other. Obviously, don't share like the very intimate stuff. It's just showing that obviously that you care about each other, that you communicate with each other often. Okay, it wouldn't be a good idea to share something like you haven't talked to each other in about a week, because if you're in a marriage together, relationship, probably every day you have some kind of communication. Okay, which most of y'all do, at least our clients have, so that's a good thing. Yeah, that was a bonus tip. Any questions? Okay, yeah, I do have a question on Ivan. Happy New Year to you. Nice to see you. Anu, your question is about the medical game. How do you find it? USCIS.gov. There's go to tools and resources on the top header, and you find the medical clinic. Or if you just select 693 or Google search 693, it'll take you to a spot on the USCIS website where you can type in your zip code. And I'll make sure I'll write that down to share that link after the show, just in case. And you also asked, okay, well, specifically, I guess I looked at your last question on that sense. You did not submit your medicals for the 485. So typically what they do, Anu, is that they send, it sounds like you just joined the show a little bit later after I share this, no worries. But they usually, in our experience, I can't say for everyone, they usually share or mail you a courtesy notice. Okay, they literally say courtesy notice, or sometimes they'll phrase it more like a request for evidence. For us, if they're requesting evidence, typically they will only ask for that. We try our best to reduce the possibility of USCIS sending a request for evidence, RFE. Bartolo Rodriguez on Instagram, yes. Will I keep this video available in your histories? Yes, I try my best to save every single video. I know they can get kind of long. I know usually we're going to show for 25, 30 minutes. But yeah, we save it anyway. And I think Instagram calls it series. On YouTube, it saves under live show, I believe. So you can always go back to it and scroll around. We'll try to do better for the future in terms of like if someone has a specific question, I'll ask a team member to timestamp it so you can go straight there. Okay. Absolutely, Bartolo. Happy to help. So Anu, hopefully that answers your first set of questions. Is it all in one place? Or they said no, the government will not send you the link. You have to find the link yourself, but we'll drop a link for you after the show anyways. You do not have primary care. That's okay. It doesn't have to be your primary care doctor. In fact, again, this has to be authorized specifically through the government. I'm sure these clinics have to have gone through some vetting process to make sure they're legit. So not every primary care doctor or doctor's office has authority to sign off on these 693 forms. Sorry, I have to like look at two cameras. I had it before where it's like right next to each other. So I was trying to figure that out because this new camera takes up a lot of space. All right. So your other question, you don't have your vaccination records. Well, they do all in one shot, meaning checking for antibodies. I don't think they check for antibodies. I know that's a common topic these days with COVID vaccine. But I don't think it's more so about checking in that sense. It's more about asking you if you got some shots. If you don't have some shots, then of course you have to show records. And if you don't have it, then they're going to have to give you that shot. Okay, so hopefully you can find some past records of your shots to save you some pain, I guess, some temporary pain. Talk to them in advance. I don't know who you mean, who you're going to talk to. If you're going to talk to USCIS hotline, they try their best, but they're what they're called tier one. So if you need some assistance, our cares team can help you, point you in the right direction, or we can chat with our friendly Emma. That's the USCIS website chat. But depending on your question, they might not help you all the way that you are hoping for. So call our team. Okay, we're happy to help you. By the way, if you are abroad outside America and you're wondering how to reach us, and you can't call our US number, you're welcome to call our WhatsApp number 346-330-5888. Okay, let's see here. Any other questions? Danya Joseph. TPS, when will the people who are qualified be able to apply? Which country, Danya? I know someone asked the other day about Ethiopia. USCIS, TPS. Let me just check the webpage. It depends on the country. So let's see here. Country designations. Let me add to my stream on YouTube. So by the way, if you're just now joining, welcome. We do offer free 15-minute preliminary discussion. Okay, Haiti. I believe Haiti. Yeah. Okay, I'm scrolling down here. I hope y'all can see it. Let me increase the size. So Danya on YouTube just asked about being able to apply from Haiti. Yeah, it was sometime. Oh, it's kind of crazy. It's 2023 now. Are y'all looking forward to 2023? I hope so. I've been looking forward to it. Mostly hoping Congress does something. But you know me, I don't like to mislead anyone. Congress sucks. Okay, y'all know that politics in America sucks because anyway. I'll save that tangent for another day. But back to Danya's question. Yeah. Okay, yeah. To that August 2021 is when they announced it for Haitians. Registration period. Danya, hopefully you can see this. Let me see if I can increase the size again. Registration period, meaning when you can apply, started August 3rd, 2021, because it was first announced in February. Okay, so August 3rd to February 3rd, 2023, Danya, don't wait. Okay, sounds like you haven't applied yet. You do not want to wait, because if you miss this, call it a window period. If you miss the window period to apply, you're done. You can't apply in the future for the first time. Okay, so you need to get it done. Okay, Danya, I hope you're still live on this. You can hear me say this. Apply this week. Let that be a treat to you, I guess you could say, a work permit, TPS, if you apply now. Give yourself a better chance to apply, because if you apply for TPS and you get it, it's the future outlook. That's what I try to share on YouTube and all these social media. It's not just about problems. Yeah, it's kind of semi-sorted to problems, but we think about the future. There has been case law. Okay, case law I call like past cases that can benefit you or not benefit you. For the most time, unfortunately, it's to not benefit you. But there's one about TPS where if you actually travel, you got advanced parole, you have TPS approved, you have advanced parole approved, which is the I-131 form, and you leave and come back, and knock on wood, all our clients have been able to come back. I don't want to overpromise anyone and say, oh, it's because you hired a lawyer. No, not necessarily, but you want to be first eligible. You want to make sure you're eligible for it. Okay. I see a lot more questions on YouTube, so I'll get to that soon. Danya, please apply today. So anyway, this whole advanced parole thing, to circle back on my thought here on strategy, is that if you have a spouse, I'm just give example. It doesn't have to be a spouse who's a U.S. citizen, of course, but that's the common one that people talk about. If you have a spouse who's a U.S. citizen that sponsors you, you can use that past travel, or I guess in your situation, future travel, as proof of legal admission. In the law, it's called 245A. You have to show that you have a legal entry as a most recent entry. Okay. So even if you illegally entered America before, but now you have legal entry as your second one, that can count as a benefit towards you. That you can use that. All right. So this is just one way we try to stay up to date on the new laws, essentially, because just a couple years ago, or really early last year, that was not allowed in some states, by the way, but not all. I know it's weird. Immigration law is federal, so it should apply across the board. But that, America, you can sue. So just the way our legal structure is, it may depend on the what we call circuit court, the region, or the state. All right, Habib, your question: how is joint taxes important, and or how? I guess you probably meant how important are joint taxes for a joint adjustment status? I recommend it to at least be married. There's two options when it's married, and that is married file jointly or married file separately. That question is more for a CPA or accountant for that scenario. But in terms of immigration, as long as it's one of those that are married, okay, hopefully that helps. And oh, by the way, Habib, it's filing separately. I think what people say, CPAs, they say more of that tip to do it separately, married but file separately. It's probably if you own a business, one of you own a business, and that's just extensions and filing extensions. So that could be to actually file the return. So hopefully that helps. Kimmy DN, how long are they taking to send receipts back after submitting all the family-based applications to Chicago Lockbox for concurrently filing? That sounds like you know what you're talking about. When you use the word phrase concurrent filing. So, I mean, generally about regardless of where you file, except Vermont Service Center is freaking slow. I don't know why. I don't know. If I were the USCIS director, I probably would be a lot faster to send you all this, at least electronically. It's kind of crazy. But by the way, if Kimmy, to answer your question directly, Kimmy, it is, I would say, average 4 to 5 weeks. Okay, it used to be very fast. For some of y'all, you might receive a receipt notice sooner, maybe in 3 weeks, but I would just say average 4 to 5 weeks for every location you send it to, except the field office or the Vermont Service Center. The Vermont Service Center is like its own beast. They need to figure stuff out over there. It's freaking ridiculous. Let's see what else. But Kimmy, hopefully you have a tracking number for, if you use USPS, UPS, or FedEx, because that's really the first thing. We have tracking number for everything that we mail to the government. Now for us, we cover the cost if you let us mail it by USPS, snail mail, but with tracking, with priority. But if you want FedEx with our team, then you have to reimburse us that cost, okay? Because some of y'all want it like overnight, real quick, which completely understand because USCIS is freaking slow for everything. Let's see here. But what other tip that I want to share, Kimmy, about this? Okay, if you're filing your own case, I recommend you to provide the form G1145. Okay, I'm writing that down in the comment in YouTube and Facebook. Okay, G1145, that provides you a text or email with the digits of your receipt number, basically. So at least, even if you haven't seen a credit card charge, at least this notification, other than mailing it, you can get, oh, you didn't do that. Okay, well, that's okay. Don't give yourself a hard time. I mean, because that's why we're on the show, to share tips like this. So I realized I need to create like separate short videos giving this tip. But no worries. Hopefully you can, whether you pay by credit card or check. Another tip about mailing packages: before you mail it, please don't use the money order, because you can't check if they cashed it. At least I'm not aware of that. But if you use a like old school check or a credit card, you can track it. Okay. So credit card, you can use the form. Just remembering all these silly numbers. $14.50. Okay, I believe that is a credit card form. So if you love those points, check that out. Okay, Danya, you're welcome. Happy to help. Remember, Danya, file it this week, please. Anu, we're really here to encourage you to get going. Because a lot of people, a lot of conservatives, not that we care what the hell they think, but a lot of conservatives say, well, sorry, I shouldn't make a pretend voice, but it's just fun. Well, there's so many immigration ways, like, uh, I just chuckle myself. I just chuckle. Well, there's so many ways to get a benefit status in America. No, you don't know that. There are ways, but it's very limited. You have to be, first of all, eligible. Not everyone's eligible, right? So, no worries, Lost Millennium on IG. I'm gonna save this right after we cut off here today. Oh, 40 minutes. I'm probably gonna wrap it up in about 5 minutes or less, unless there's more questions. Let's see. Yeah, I'll save it on Instagram. It's automatically saved on YouTube as on the live playlist. Okay. I mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to ask a team member to, depending on the question, to create like a timestamp, at least on YouTube. You can't do that Instagram. I wish Instagram and Facebook were a little bit easier to use. Let's see here. But speaking of Facebook, if I'm just going to share, we do have a Facebook group. You're waiting for your appointment. I don't think you mean for us. You mean for USCIS. Yeah. How can you waive it? You can't waive it like on your own. I think maybe that's what some people on this video are probably wondering, how you can waive it on your own after you file it. It's too late. It's not up to you. First of all, it's not up to you as the applicant or the sponsor. But it's how you prepare your case before. Okay, so hopefully so sorry about that, but here's our Facebook group. Okay, folks, for those on Instagram, we have a Facebook group called Green Card Guys, or Green Card Academy. You go to Teen Law Group, it'll take you straight there. So save you. So we're gonna share more tips over there as a reminder, like Danya, file for TPS. That's one example, because that window is closing soon. So thanks for asking that question. As a great reminder to share with the folks on the Facebook group. Of course, you need to be a user, I guess, an active user of Facebook to join it. So if you're not, we'll have to find other ways. So you get the free tips. The other way to get free tips, folks, is if you join, put your email on our website, Green Card Guys. There's a box at the bottom where you can sign up for an email. Okay, folks, to get the free tips in general. If you want free tips about your specific case, of course, then go ahead and go to our website, greencardguys.com, and on YouTube, okay, and Facebook, you can see this that I'm pointing out the screen here, is that you can download a free guide on our website. So there's one about investor, one about family, and one about employment options, okay? So if you sign up or download one of those free guides, then you get tips based on that kind of case. All right. So I'll kind of give you an idea. Back to the comments. Kimmy, what did you do or not do? That's exactly what you did, but you did priority mail, but it was delivered. So fingers crossed. Okay, great. Okay, good. Glad it was just, yeah, sometimes unfortunately it doesn't really matter the location or the office, but they just might be a little slower. Sorry about that. The government, they just need to do better. In fact, actually, Kimmy and whoever's still on, is that USCIS is so slow that they sent out a memo, okay, about a month ago saying, please make it easier for them to be able to get it, what do you call, receipted. Okay, that's what Kimmy's waiting for, the receipt notice. And that is like, don't use staples, don't use Urbans. I know it sounds weird, but some lawyers even are like, I need to like secure the package. You secure it by putting it in the envelope. That's enough, actually, because if you create extra steps for them, they literally said, don't staple, don't don't even two-hole punch, because really what they're doing is they're trying to like take off all these things that you bind it together, and that because they need to scan it into the system. Fortunately, they have a scanner, some kind of scanning system. Thank the Lord, my goodness. But they're still slow. So who knows, Kimmy? Maybe that's a situation for you that maybe that's why they're slow to give you the receipt notice. Okay, but anyways, there's a lot more tips that I can share about that in a separate video. You got another question? Happy to answer if I can. When doing a joint sponsorship, okay, you have a joint sponsor. Some people call it co-sponsor. That's completely fine. Does that person also have to provide all text, the 3 text transcript or return? Is it okay if they only include their most recent year? That's a great question, Kimmy. That you're required to provide the most recent year. So it's January, right? It's a new year. Let's say if you were filing now, I don't even think you can file your tax return yet. I know you can in January, but not yet, from what I understand. So, like, if you're literally about to file it today or this week, then of course the government can't expect you as a main sponsor or joint sponsor to provide the 2022 tax return that you would file before April 15th of 2023. So it can get a little confusing with the years, but yeah, you don't, to answer your question directly, you don't have to provide all 3 years, even as the main sponsor. But, yeah, if you're preparing for that RFE, requesting for joint sponsorship, then yeah, you don't. But on the form itself, the 864, it does ask about the total income or AGI, adjusted gross income, for the joint sponsor. So maybe they'll just provide you that amount, and if you're the one filling out the form. So anyways, hopefully that helps. Yeah, exactly. Even though you filled out all 3 years, you don't have to provide a copy of the last 3 years. Okay. I realize I'm about to lose my voice, so cheers to health. Okay, gotta drink more water. Been talking about that a lot the past couple of shows. All right, Habib, you're waiting for 2 years after marriage before filing. Oh, is waiting for 2 years after marriage before filing advisable, or immediately filing after marriage? I know why you're asking, because for folks that have not filed yet, or if you have, you're probably wondering this. Let's say you got married last month. Okay, congratulations to you. The question is, usually we in a consultation we let you know what I'm about to share with you, but we especially remember to share this tip, this legal strategy, to wait after 2 years of marriage together and then file if you're pretty close to the 2-year mark. Now, even though we share this to pretty much everyone, I think we do. I have to check with that with my legal team, but because we want you to make that decision, okay? That's up to you, because ultimately, if you get married like last month, and let's say, or whatever it is, even if it's not last month, but you married within 2 years and you're about to file it and it's still less than 2 years at the time that you're about to file your case, your applications, then the outcome will be, if you're approved, a 2-year conditional resident status. It's not the LPR, it's the CR status, which means in the future, 1 year and 9 months later is the earliest that you can file to remove your conditions. It's called the 751 form. We have a lot of clients that need help with that. So we help, especially our own clients that we help with the green card initially. Because whether you're still married or you're not married anymore, you're divorced or you're separated, you can still file the 751 application, and you want to file it timely. Please do not get it confused with the renewal form. That's the I-90. Please don't do that. You're gonna waste a lot of time, and you're gonna be frustrated. So when you have a 2-year card, and 2 years later, it's gonna be the 751 form. Okay. So Habib, typically 99% of people that contact us, I always don't like to use absolutes, so I'll say 99%, they want the work permit. You want the legal ability to work. Okay. You want the legal ability to work. Sorry, I saw Kimmy's question. So with that being said, that's why most people, when you get married recently, when they contact us, they want to file like ASAP so you can get the work permit. But again, if you're closer to the 2-year mark of marriage without having, you haven't filed it yet, let's say you're like at the 19-month mark and you're working anyway without legal stat, like a work permit. Can't tell you what to do, but hopefully that gives you an idea. You could save money in that sense. But again, most people want that work permit, and most of y'all want to be able to drive. And in most states, you need to have the work permit or the approval notice of the 765 to be able to apply for a driver license in your state. So no, California and maybe New York is a bit different, but hopefully that gives you an idea. Habib, hopefully that helps. Okay, Kimmy, back to you. You're confused. This will probably be the last question. So if you have any more questions, please drop it in the comments after the show, and then because I got to get to my other meeting after this. You're confused as it relates to the tax year and deadline. Some people say try to file your applications before December 31st, while others say you can file anytime within that year. Do you mean the tax return as application? No, there's a deadline. Yeah, you know that the following year, April 15th. For example, anytime January 2022 through April 2023, the current tax will be. I see. I think what you're probably talking about is paying in advance, paying tax in advance, not the form itself. I'm not a CPA, so you're gonna have to talk to one again, or maybe a different one. But yeah, like for me as a business, I pay in advance, so I can better predict. And maybe that's why some law firms don't, or some companies don't survive, I guess you can say. Now, as an individual, it's because they spend all the money and they forgot to pay tax. So yeah, for you as an individual, you don't have to prepay. But if you get 1099, again, this is tax related. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax lawyer. So you need to talk, disclaimer, you need to talk to a tax professional. But from my understand, if you get paid with a 1099, like an independent contractor, you're going to have to pay tax. Whereas if you are a W-2 type employee, then what's it called? You don't have to pay tax. Okay. I mean, you already paid it. That's why, because it was withheld out of your paycheck. So pay your pay stub. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. Kimmy, no, as a sponsor, your most recent tax. Is that what you mean? Okay. Okay. I think this is going into the weeds a little bit. I think I understand your question, but maybe it's better you schedule consultation with our team or fill out the form on our website, greencardguys.com. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Kimmy, you already filed it, right? So you already mailed it, so you don't have to provide the 2022 tax return at this time, not right now, right? Because you already filed your case. Now, when you go to the interview, if this is like marriage based, for example, then I would have that ready for the interview, like 1 year later after you finally get that receipt notice. I saw Chicago, but I guess that doesn't mean you're out of Chicago. Which, by the way, depending on the area of the country where you're closer to field office, like Chicago, it's really slow. But by the way, if hot tip here, just because you mail it initially to Chicago doesn't mean that it processes only in Chicago. It goes to a service center somehow, at some point, and then eventually it goes to the local field office where you would typically have your interview. So, Kimmy, sorry. Hopefully that answered the question. Let's see here. If you're on YouTube, you can see our number right up here, or you can join us, get it down below in the description box. We do have free guides also below. Okay, laddie, the blessed. I'll see if I can answer your question. I gotta hop off. You file VAWA and your case got denied. I'm sorry to hear that. So they sent you a denial letter and said you could file a motion to probably reopen or reconsider, which gave you 33 days to file since it's mailed. You want to look at the COVID flexibility rule, because it may be able to extend it by 60 days. The days passed. You didn't file it. Yeah. So look at that. It should, the COVID flexibility rule is still active. So check that out. It typically, depending on scenario, but most of the time it gives you 60 days. Okay. Extra. Okay. Past the 30 days, the typical 30 days. It's 33 days if you mailed it, but yeah, it's on top of that. Okay. What I recommend, by the way, if you're taking advantage of the, I won't say advantage, but making use of the COVID flex rule for timing to file it, the response, don't wait till last minute. Okay. Put it on your calendar. That's the theme of last year for my business groups. Okay. My coaching groups, put it on your calendar. In fact, we're going to start doing that. If you ask us for a quote, we're going to put you on the calendar. Okay. Because we got to talk about it. We want to help you. If you've contacted us, I'm making a good assumption. You trust us to help you. So, but life happens. You forget that you need to get your legal status. So that happens to me. Like, I'm at the grocery store, people call me. I'm like, I don't have time to answer your call. I got to carry all the stuff. So go through the lines, go through checkout. So yeah, we're here to help you, encourage you to get legal status. That's part of our mission, to help you, foreign nationals, immigrants, live and work in America legally. Okay. So by the way, Laddie, it sounds like you need to schedule or take a quiz for a free consult, to see if you even want to file a new one, or maybe file a motion to reconsider or reopen. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.